Not long after we were married,
Mm-hmm.
we realized that we were not going to be able to have biological children, and started the fertility
Right.
treatments and tried that for a few years, and really came to the realization that we wanted to be parents more than we needed to be pregnant, and we wanted to grow our family.
Right. And yeah, the most important thing was having kids. We've something we both talked about before we were married. We, you know, were people who were excited about having kids. We wanted to raise family, and for a while, it was first 6 months or so we wanted to beat this infertility thing. Then after praying more, we realized that adoption was a route for us, and it worked out fantastic. It was, a great road, and it was actually much easier than anticipated, to be honest with you.
We brought them both home from the hospital. Zach was actually 14 hours old when he was discharged from the hospital, and Anthony was 3 weeks and 6 days old when we brought him home from the hospital. He had a little bit of time in the NICU.
Gotcha. And how old are they now?
Our oldest is 20 and our youngest is 18.
Love having our boys. The different things that they're into, the different personalities, and just raising them, being able to be a dad was so important, and for Becky, of course, being a mom. Um, the different personalities. I loved, with our oldest, he was more of the sports guy, and going to league games and coaching him and different things like that. And we've always both Becky and I, of course, we love music, and Anthony is a musician. He loves to play, and just getting him involved in different instruments and playing. And he's our guitar player, so it's been great. It's been wonderful. For Zach, our oldest, his birth mother, Zach Zach would have been the third child, in about a 3-year span.
4 year.
And but Zach's the other older brother that's closest to Zach is only 11 months older. She was single, teenager. She
Young.
was 19, and she had 3 kids at 19. So she had given her Zach's older brother up for adoption as well. But she was living with her parents and by herself, and I don't know. It's hard to say how a life's going to turn out, but we know that we've been able to love and care and provide, and they always seem happy enough. But you never can tell when they're teenagers, if they're happy or not. But we think that their lives have turned out pretty good. And with Anthony, he was his birth mother's first child, but she was just 15 years old, and she did not have any prenatal care. Matter of fact, she was actually trying to hide the pregnancy from her family, and you know, that obviously at a certain point that doesn't happen anymore, and she developed preeclampsia and had to be rushed to the hospital. And Anthony was born 10 weeks early, and so he's had some issues growing up as far as developmental delay issues based on his being premature. We've been able to get him into different organizations from birth, from bringing him home from the hospital, March of Dimes, and different
United Cerebral Palsy.
UCP intervention programs from early ages to work on his learning developmental
Speech
issues.
therapy, occupational therapy,
Right.
to help him get a better start after that premature birth. What we were able to offer them was a home with a mom and a dad that was committed to each other and committed to raising a family together.
Right.
And just I've always felt that when we were chosen by both of our birth mothers, our sons' birth mothers, that that was their desire. They wanted their children to grow up with a mom and a dad, and have that loving, stable environment to grow up in. And I feel that we've been able to offer that, and give them the support and the resources to grow up to be healthy and successful.
Right. I know within our family too, and family time together, and growing up through the years, they're our boys. They've always
Yeah.
been our boys, and I believe if you ask them, we're mom and dad. So that's the family thing. That's what we've always wanted, and that's we've never ever looked at it. Well, I wonder what it would have been like to have our own biological kids. That's never been a thing at all. I mean,
They're ours.
They're our kids. They're
Definitely ours.
So it's been wonderful.
I think my advice that I would give to families who are unable to have biological children, and to be open to the fact that even though you're not able to have biological children, that there is a child out there that is destined to be yours and is waiting for you to love them unconditionally.
Yeah.
And opening your heart to, I guess, just opening your heart to any situation. There are so many babies, there's so many children out there, and you really don't feel any differently than you do, I don't think, not having a biological child, but I don't think you feel any differently towards a child that's adopted than a child that is yours biologically. At least I can't imagine that. So
I couldn't imagine that either. I mean, my advice to anyone who's looking to adopt or who can't have their own kids and would like to have children is get the process started. Go ahead and make a phone call. Obviously, pray about it first, talk about it first, whatever you need to do between the couple. But if the family is the important thing, if having the children is the important thing, then go ahead and get that process started. Whether you start with foster or start with just saying we're just going to adopt. I mean, when we actually first began our home study, it was actually to be for foster to begin with, and then home study came out. Then all of a sudden, opportunity just put us in our lap for our first kid. Oh, we have a little teenager that's pregnant, wants to meet you guys to adopt, and I'm like, okay, so. It's just get the process started. Foster was the way that we were going to start, but adoption just fell into our laps, and we ran with that, and it's been wonderful. So,
yeah.
But
and not be afraid. Rely on each other, because that communication with each other and leaning on each other as you go through it, because there are so many ups and downs with adoptions. Our story was pretty easy, but I know families who have gone through a lot of ups and downs on their adoption journey, and needing to rely on each other and build each other up through the process, and communicating, and still taking time to be a couple, and building your love and building your marriage together, so that you are strengthening yourself, your foundations for your family, through the two of you.
Sure. And can you be single and adopt?
Absolutely. If you have, no, I don't see any reason why. If you have enough love to give and you are ready to become a parent, I don't see any reason why you wouldn't be able to manage being a parent and be single. And I know that in the adoption world, that being single and being a parent is, it's an awesome way to grow your family. I believe the need for children to have a parent, whether it's a mom and a dad, a mom, a dad, either way, the need for a child to have that is so important. Whether it's an infant or an older child, every child deserves to have that. They deserve to have that mom
the care,
or dad.
The love, obviously, all the attention of their needs being met, but more than that, just an adult giving them guidance, encouragement, love, and support, and helping them to navigate through growing up on who they are, what their personality is going to be like, how they need to deal with situations, and just teaching them things. So, there's so many kids that are out there that need that adult involvement and that adult care. And so whether you are single or you are a couple, there's still children out there that need that love.
I believe a child having a family is the most important thing for them to succeed in their life. without a family connection, without that unconditional love, they are being set up for failure. They're never learning that sense of commitment, that foundation.
Sense of being valued.
Right.
And
The encouragement that
incredibly
comes from a
critical.
family.
It's incredibly critical for a child to have a family, to love them and care for them. I think bringing another child into a situation with a family that already has their own biological child, because of our situation, I don't see how it would be any different than if another biological was born, the usual way, or brought into the family the usual way. I think the adoption process, I don't see that there's a distinctive difference. It's going to be just as if another child is born in the family. So it's just another way of enhancing and growing the family from.
I think that when there's biological children that are older, there needs to be education all the way around for the entire family, and educating the children on the expectation and what it will be like to bring in a child. If it's an older child, what kind of situations coming into our home and how we're going to attempt to deal with those situations. Obviously, when you bring in an infant, you might not be bringing in you're not bringing in everything that's coming along with an older child. When you bring an older child into the home, that's something that the entire family needs to educate and be ready for.
Just kind of prepare themselves for. No, it's absolutely life changing for everybody involved. Yeah, everybody
Yes.
the parents, if there's other siblings, the child who's being adopted, it's growing the family. It's everyone around is it's a new relationship. It's something new in everyone's life. It's new for everybody involved. So it's just another person to love and be loved by. So it changes
Yes.
everything.
It is amazing to see the changes in people when they are able to, on both
Yeah.
sides, the families, and just seeing that love and excitement in an adoptive family's eyes when they meet their adopted child for the first time, and seeing that joy and realizing that they are making such a huge difference in the world. Well, not only first and foremost am I a mom and my boys are adopted, but my career that I am in, I am an adoption social worker. So I believe that has been my calling, is to work with families and train them and be with them and walk along with them on their adoption journeys. There's so many roads to adoption and so much out of control type of situations on the adoption journey, that I enjoy getting to walk down that journey with the families. And I believe that my experience as an adoptive mom gives me more of an insight, more compassion with the families as they go on this journey. I 100% believe that that our boys were meant to be ours from the moment that they were created. And I believe that part of our journey has led me to the place of being able to mentor and to minister to other families as they go through this journey. And I believe in destiny, and I believe in a plan that is set before us. And I believe that that plan started even before we got married.
Yeah.
And our hearts being open to that. And I'm thankful that I was blessed with a husband who was willing to go on that journey, because I probably would have jumped on it no matter what. So
Well, we both felt that we've been called to do something by God, and family is something that everyone is called to do by God. You're going to be a part of a family, one way or another, in some level, and you've got to show love. You got to show unconditional love, but God prepared both of our hearts to because that was His plan for us to adopt, and when we walked down that journey, you know, it's a wonderful thing to see how God works in all the little details. But you know, we've loved every second of it. We feel that we're definitely doing, and we've been walking on in God's plan and God's time the whole way through. And we love it.
Yep.
And isn't it amazing that it's not like Plan B? You know, adoption is Plan A. Can you just describe that there's no such thing as now you have to go to Plan B?
I don't think that adoption is a plan B. I think that sometimes we don't see that it's plan A, and it might take us a moment to be, oh, this was the plan. And I think that was in our journey that we didn't realize that it was plan A until we thought, well, let's do a little bit of fertility treatments. And even when we began our fertility treatments, it was, we'll try, but we'll probably adopt. And so trying just a little bit, and then we we're meant to adopt. This was our journey. This was meant to be. And even if people have biological children, I hear it often that this was always in our heart. This was always in our heart to adopt. So it was always a plan.
Right.
So no disappointment, no regret.
Oh, absolutely.
Not one bit.
No regret at all.
Reframe that.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we have absolutely. There's no regretting, the plan of adoption at all. It was our life, and we love it and love our boys, and yeah, it's been wonderful.
Yep, and we've always openly talked about adoption. Our boys have known that was their story. That was our story. It wasn't their story. This was our family story. We grew our family through adoption, and that's who we were. That's who we are, and it has been a very positive thing in our family. And we always wanted our boys to feel that it was a positive decision all the way around, from their birth mothers to us.